Hey there, how are you? What a wonderful opportunity we have today to honor our ancestor, our sister, our saint, Harriet Tubman. I am, I've been walking with Harriet, or she's been walking with me. We've been walking together for some time. And now here we are, thousands of us honoring Harriet, walking with Harriet. And I'm amazed at how is it that a woman born into enslavement, dealing with a traumatic brain injury for most of her life, considered functionally illiterate, has become this Moses, this Harriet, this general, this saint, this icon. That was a good story. And like all good story, it begins once upon a time, probably way farther away than you have thought, and even longer ago than you imagined. And it begins on the coast of Ghana, West Africa. And the Girl Trek founders, Vanessa Garrison and Morgan Dixon, will take us
Oh, thank you so much for that, Natalie. Thank you for that warm introduction. Good afternoon, everybody, and happy Harriet Tubman Day. Natalie, I just want to thank you on behalf of the movement. For those who do not know, this is Natalie Days. She is a trekker with Girl Trek. She lives on the eastern shore of Maryland, and you of bringing her story to life through performance. And we are so grateful for you to be here. And we're excited that everyone is calling in and dialing in. Our phones are off the hook. Our DMs are off the hook. Hashtag We Are Harriet is off the hook. This is a major celebration. Are you there, Morgan?
I'm here.
All right.
Hey, everybody, it's Morgan Dixon, one of the co-founders of Girl Trek. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you, more importantly, for what you did. I was watching, which is walk at sunrise this morning. I am grateful for everybody who walked in the direction of their healthiest, most fulfilled life today and every day. Because on the days that I can't, I watch you using hashtag Girl Trek. I watch you on hashtag We Are Harriet. I watch you on our Facebook pages, and I'm so grateful for you. And hopefully every now and then, maybe I can return the favor with my own walk. So welcome, welcome, welcome. For those of you who are new, Girl Trek is the largest health movement for Black women in America. And mark my words, with Harriet Tubman and all the foremothers behind us, we will be the largest health organization in the world, serving 700 million Black women across the planet. I am calling live today from the Ashanti Kingdom. Let's roll some footage. I want you to see what it looks like in West Africa, where many, many, many of our foremothers came from. So it's sunset here. It is just after 6 o'clock, and it's Ghana, West Africa, on the West Coast. There are coasts here where many of us left that are slave dungeons are there. We'll show you a little sneak dancers, we'll show you the castles, and we will show you the footage of Ghana. So welcome, welcome, welcome.
I have been praying for at least since we started this Girl Trek movement 10 years. My family would get involved deeply with Girl Trek. If you are out there, women, and you walked this morning and one of your cousins or one of your aunties didn't show up, me and Morgan know the struggle, because organizing your loved ones is often the hardest thing. But when I tell you that my family group chat is popping and that my the first to wake up at sunrise and to share her photo walking. And then my cousin Shantae, who was all the way across the country, said, "Thank you so much for this, because I haven't walked since the last time we walked months ago and I needed this." And then my other cousin came in and said, "I'm about to get out there too." And I was like, this is what it is, that on Harriet Tubman Day, the people who I'm hoping to bring across that Northern Freedom Line and the people who I do this work for are coming along. So I just want to shout out my family and shout out your family, Morgan, and shout out the women who have been with us since the very beginning. 2013 is when Girl Trek first started honoring Harriet Tubman with We Are Harriet. It was a moving tribute, and every year since then, we have used her as a muse. We have told her story, and I I feel surrounded by her spirit today in such a beautiful and touching way.
Vanessa, why don't you show the people what name is behind you? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. What name?
Look, well, if you really want to know, my name is Vanessa. I am the daughter of Annette. I am the daughter of Olympia. I am the daughter of Melvina. I am the daughter of Katie. And I am calling in from Harriet Tubman's home that she chose in Freedom, Auburn, New York. And that's why this broadcast is called From the Ashanti Kingdom to Auburn, because we are telling her story and reminding people that it didn't start on the Eastern Shore. It didn't start when she was enslaved. And in fact, it didn't end with her running away. It ended with her finding joy and finding a husband and adopting a child. And her legacy is alive and well today. I walked to her gravesite with a group of people, and it feels really beautiful. And serendipitously, I am here at the Heritage Center in Auburn, New York, where they've allowed me to film. We're at the Universal Suffrage. Was Reverend Olympia, my grandmother's name, who was the Reverend who was a part of that convention. So I just feel like it is all coming together in such a powerful way. And I know actually that the women around the world feel that it's coming together for them too, because I've been reading the testimonies.
Well, let us get started, Vanessa. In the name of all of our foremothers, and especially your grandmother, Olympia, I don't know if people could see, she was pointing to a name on the wall. You have a tight shot, so I'm not sure if people can see it, but when the shot is bigger, they'll be able to see your grandmother's name. There it is. Point to a V.
There
Olympia.
it is. Yes. Right under Frederick Douglass. Right under Frederick Douglass.
Because your grandma right under Frederick Douglass.
Right.
And you in that lineage, girl. So welcome. It's going to be a celebration all night. We will re-air this at 8:00 Eastern time, where you can get some popcorn, you can get your friends. But some of y'all at work right now, you ready to get it started. So let's come to the Ashanti. Did you hear that thunder?
I did.
Oh, Lord. Okay. So we are here in the Ashanti Kingdom. If you don't know about the Ashanti Kingdom, it is where Harriet Tubman's grandmother was from. Modesty. I swear that was not sound effect. It might rain on my head in one, like on The Color Purple. The Ashanti Kingdom is where Harriet Tubman's grandmother, Modesty, was from. We always knew she was an Ashanti woman because the Ashanti women are the warriors of Africa. Everyone knows it. The Ashanti Kingdom is undefeated. It's why we still call it the Ashanti Kingdom. It is located in Kumasi, West Africa. And I am here today. The birds are chirping, and I think a big thunderstorm, which is good luck, is about to come. So I'm sitting on my deck.
Loud. Ooh, look. I mean, it's a miracle. Just think about technology, Morgan. Think about technology that right now you are in Africa, that I am in Auburn, that we have Miss Natalie calling in from the Eastern Shore, that we are covering Harriet's entire route with story today.
Listen, this morning we had a broadcast, a walking podcast. You can get it wherever you get your podcast, dedicated to Harriet Tubman. And her pastor of her church in Auburn led us in prayer and opened us up in prayer. Today, and that is a Christian tradition that Harriet Tubman comes from in faith. And her grandmother comes from the Ashanti tradition. So we want to open up this broadcast with a beautiful dance from an all-girls troupe on the beaches of Cape Coast. They are called Ginyame cultural dance, and that means God. That means we worship God. God be with us. Ginyame Cultural Dance Center, and these girls are amazing, and we want them to open our show tonight. You ready, girls? Let's go. Michele. Thank you, Dinyame, Cultural Dance Center. We love you,
Can
girls.
I tell you, Morgan, anybody who's in drill team, anybody who is in the step show, anybody who, like, when we talk about this is where it originated, to see it, like, that is actually where it originated. And so much of our dance traditions and so much of our celebrations I saw in that beautiful clip right there.
And I tell you, those girls are such incredible and powerful leaders, and they're so disciplined and they're so wonderful. And to thank them for opening tonight's celebration, we're going to pay for their school fees for the entire year at Girl Trek. And so we are so grateful to every single girl who danced on the beach in honor of Harriet Tubman. And for those of you who don't know the relationship between Kumasi and the shoreline, the shore is Cape Coast. The difference is Kumasi is about 5 hours inland, and it's where many, many people of our people, including Harriet Tubman's foremothers, were stolen from. And human trafficking had us walk. Now, it's 5 hours in my Jeep, but walk hundreds of miles to something called the slave baths. We call it the baths where our enslaved ancestors took their final last bath before they were then shackled and marched another 100 miles to the coast where those young ladies are dancing at sunset. At that coast are slave dungeons, and we were boarded onto those ships. We were taken across the Atlantic Ocean, and Harriet Tubman ended up on the eastern shore of Maryland, with her grandmother, Modesty, coming from this very place. So we asked one of Girl Trek's correspondents to take us around in Cape Coast and show you exactly what's down there.
You've been gone, it's an empty home.
Girl Trek Global, I'm Megan Green. I'm reporting live from West Africa. And in honor of Harriet Tubman today, I spent the day experiencing what her grandmother and our foremothers experienced as they left the kingdoms of Africa and were taken to the coffles of America. Today, I got to experience what the last passage was for the slaves taken from the Americas into the last bath. I got to learn about the history of the slave trade and a lot of the mechanisms used. It was really emotional for me because not everyone gets to come back here and experience it, and I enjoyed being able to pay homage to my ancestors. For Harriet's 200th birthday, we visited the Cape Coast Slave Castle. Experiencing what our ancestors went through, it gives you mixed emotions. A lot of pain and a lot of anger, and at the same time, a sense of pride that we've been able to live to the day that we can actually come back. I think everyone needs to come back and experience this.
Come with me on this happy trip back to the promised land. All will be happy and come with me on this happy trip back to the promised land. All will be happy and gay. Welcome home. Welcome home. Welcome home. Welcome home. Welcome home.
Vanessa, I just want to get your reaction on that video.
I was thinking about the first time I went there, and I also had my Girl Trek shirt on, and I was in my head, I was like, why was it so my Girl Trek shirt to this place? And I don't even know if I know the answer, but when I see that video and when I remember myself being there, what I think about is the own fractures in my own family and the trauma that has run through my bloodline, and being able to pinpoint a real physical place to say it started here in some sort of way. It it was terror that they were experiencing. It was terror that I still experience when I close my eyes. And so when I see that, that's the first thing I'm thinking is like what my own family had to experience, what we carry in our bodies, what's still in the fleshy parts of our belly, that kind of feeling and that knowing. And it for me has often felt like a dread, and yet the hopefulness that I feel, which is actually now I know why wore my Girl Trek shirt there, is that I'm moving through it. I'm moving past it because I know that there is a destiny for me that didn't end nor start there at those slave paths. And that's why it's so important for me to be a part of, so that people know that our stories are going to be so much bigger than this, and that we have to understand it, we have to know it, we have to name it, we have to pinpoint it, and then we have to be willing to walk away from it, to move on from it, to create something new and to transform. I was thinking about a conversation you and I had once about a lot of the people who go there and they're taking selfies and they're dressed up and they're all these things, and I know people feel some kind of way about it, but when I just was watching that video of Megan, I was thinking, no, we got to bring our joy everywhere. We got to bring our, our swag everywhere. We got to story. So it's so powerful. I can't think of any Black people around the world, not just African Americans, but Black people around the world making a pilgrimage back to the continent to step their feet on the land and to, for themselves, ask themselves, what does it mean for them, and to make meaning out of it for them.
Yeah, I want to give a special shout out to Megan Green, our correspondent. She did a beautiful job. And when we were on set filming that, I asked Megan to go in and to experience it herself before the crews came with her, because it is so emotional. And then the crews came in and she was so beautiful. And then it was time for us to to go. And I had to go get Megan. And so I told the driver and I told a few other people outside that I said, let me run in and get them. And it was the first time I had walked into the slave dungeons by myself. So without a group or without a guide, and I just walked through the hallways. And then I saw the guide closing the door on the women's dungeon with people in it, and it was dark. And he looked at me and I said, Girl Trek. And I pointed to my shirt. I was like, do you know where the Girl Trek shirt is? And he said, she's in the male dungeons. And I walked toward the male dungeons in this hallway, and I got overwhelmed with spirit, like overwhelmed with spirit. And I couldn't go. And I came back out and I asked the drone cameraman if he could go get Megan, because y'all, it's the trauma there is thick and the spirit there is thick and the suffering was thick. And so when sometimes you feel pain and you can't explain it, or you feel hurt, or your mother hurt you, or your grandmother hurt her,
Yes.
know that we are overcomers of an attempted genocide. And so on this side of it, we celebrate those who walked us through that. And so without further ado, we are going to bring our
Morgan,
sister
before
now.
I know you're getting ready to move, but I have to say something here. I want to just take a moment right now to honor our brothers and sisters who are locked down and incarcerated, because when you just described that, I was thinking of the many times, I grew up, my mother was in prison when I was growing up, the many times that I had to walk through those gates, and then you walk through some more gates, and then you walk through the tunnels. And I'm thinking of our cousins, our uncles, our daddies, our grandfathers, and they are experiencing right now, this second, an attempted genocide as well. And when you think about those slave castles and the people being held there, and you think about what's happening right now on Rikers, for example, which is a human rights crisis, I just want to bring those people into the conversation today and send some of the prayers that have come as women have walked out to our loved ones who are incarcerated, and let them know just in word, because I know word travels and reverberates, that, and they can feel us, that we have not forgotten. And we will not forget you in this fight for liberation. So,
Yeah, Vanessa, I'm wearing the abolitionist shirt, and it's because all of this is connected. All of this is connected. We need to abolish prisons. We need to, because it is a continuation of chattel slavery, and it is exploitation of labor. And so I couldn't agree with you more. And Vanessa, I didn't share this with you, but part of what has been healing my soul, and the reason why I believe in this movement so much, is because, so you remember when my Uncle James passed away like 2 years ago?
mhm.
Twyla's dad, remember? And I came
Yeah.
back to Kansas. I just on our family reunion page saw a clip where it was his final day before he passed away. And my uncle, who has this deep, billowing voice, was singing A Change is Gonna Come. And my uncle, who was emaciated from the ravages of his traumatic life, serving in the military, having the effects of that, and then suffering from alcoholism his entire life, was emaciated. My uncle's singing A Change is Gonna Come on his guitar, and my cousin is caring for him, and she had her Girl Trek visor on. And it just broke me. I just saw it last week. I was just like, because the caretakers, we just need a name for what we're doing together. We need a village. We need someone to see us when we're in the hardest, darkest moments of our life, like caring for our fathers on their last. And I'm saying Black people have sacrificed so much for America and for the world. And I want you all to know, if you feel alone today, this moment, the sun has set. Can you see? Oh, you guys, I don't have the wide lit. Can you guys show the wide? Sorry, can see how it's dark? Is it this way? See how it's dark over here now? Yeah, the sunset and the crickets are out. Yeah, it's so beautiful. It sounds so beautiful here. But I want you to know, if you are sitting at home right now, if you don't know where to start, trust you me, sister, I have been there. I have been flat on my back before. The darkness has threatened to overtake me, and I tell you, there is light. There is light. There is light. And if you don't know anything to do, I just want you to have a heart posture of hope. Because if they could do that in those dungeons, if Vanessa's mother could do that in the prison cell, if my uncle can do that in the grips of addiction, and Vanessa, he said he didn't want to go in the video. Oh my God, it was too much. It was just too much. I'm just saying, sisters, we come from a strong people, and you can make it. Don't you dare give up. Don't you dare give up. And if you need help, you can follow us. You can email me. I'm Morgan@girltrek.org. Vanessa's Vanessa@girltrek.org. We're not hiding. We absolutely love you without having to know. And walk with us. Be a member of our crew. So without further ado, in tonight's celebration of Harriet Tubman's life, we are going to invite back our sister Natalie to tell you what happened when she arrived on those shores, the eastern shores of.
Hi. I was watching that and I'm so moved by the story and the visit to the slave castle. I often tell stories to students and I say, you know, when our ancestors were put on those ships, they didn't have a backpack. They didn't have a suitcase. It looked like they had nothing. And yet they had what they believed, what they could do, and what they knew. And that's what came across that Atlantic Ocean. And that's what they built our lives here now with, what they brought in their minds and their hearts and their hands and have passed on to us these years later. What a powerful thing that is. And so once they arrived across the Atlantic Ocean, Araminta, or Harriet's ancestor, was brought to the eastern seaboard of Maryland. I, by the way, am on the eastern seaboard of South Carolina right now. But they were brought to the eastern seaboard of Maryland in 1822. A little girl was born. Little brown girl, Nut brown skin, 10 little fingers, 10 little toes, bright black eyes, loved by her mother, Harriet Green, daughter of Modesty, and her father, Benjamin Ross. And wouldn't it be wonderful if that was the fairy tale, beautiful little girl was born and lived happily ever after. But of course, she was born into enslavement. And enslavement, even as it continues, is something that destroys the hearts, the bodies, the minds of all those involved, those enslaved, and those who enslaved them. And yet somehow, little Araminta Ross became Harriet Tubman. And that happened there on the eastern seaboard of Maryland. She grew into her young womanhood there. And there are a group of walkers there now, the Groove City Walkers. And they can tell us a lot about that community, the Groove City Trekkers, because they walk and work in the places where Harriet walked and worked and dreamed and freed herself from. And they feel her spirit there even today. And so we'll take you there and they'll share their experience.
It's like the spirit of Harriet here. The mural is called Take My Hand, and it was painted in 2019. But you see her reaching out to bid you to take her hand and follow her.
Courageous, clever, and charismatic, Harriet Tubman overcame the brutality of slavery on the eastern shore of Maryland to gain freedom for herself and others.
It wasn't until I moved here that I knew that she was from Maryland. That wasn't something I learned in school.
Even when I was in school, we didn't learn about Harriet. We learned nothing. Yeah, it wasn't part of our, of our education. Harriet Tubman helped her sister and her 2 young children escape the auction block here at the Dorchester County Courthouse steps. Her bravery this close to get her sister and her 2 children freed from these steps in front of everybody standing out here auctioning off slaves, but she managed to help those 3 actually escape and were free slaves as well.
Miss Candace and I were born and raised here. And now she's here with us.
I moved here from another city, from Baltimore, Maryland, and there's just a lot of opportunity here, and I feel like Harriet inspires me in that to just be more.
I think she'd be encouraging us to lead each other on to the heights that we know that we can reach. And the other part about Harriet is that she didn't want to leave anybody behind. And I think that's the thing that we need to carry with us, is that it's kind of it's our mission also.
We're at the Bucktown General Store near where Araminta Ross, later to be Harriet Tubman, grew up. She had come in to the store when the store owner was throwing a 2-pound weight at someone who he thought was a runaway slave, and he missed the other slave and hit Araminta in her forehead. It fractured her skull. And after that point, she began to have visions and dreams that she believed were from the Lord. I am so excited to actually be walking on the floors, touching the counters, to know that Harriet was actually in this store and I'm in the same place. It really moves me.
When I look at it too, I think of the song, Reach Out and Touch Somebody's Hand, to give a little encouragement to someone who's lost their way. And to me, that's the spirit of Girl Trek. And I see that when I look at this mural of Harriet reaching out to us.
Morgan, there are so many things that are powerful about that clip that we just saw. The first of them for me being that here in Auburn, there's a group of trekkers, and they call themselves the Harriet City Trekkers. down here on Saturday, and I told them, well, you know, in Harriet Tubman's hometown of Cambridge, you got the Grove City Trekkers. They almost fell out. They was like, we need their numbers. We're going to be walking on the phone together. It's going to be a link up. And I was like, yes, I totally see that. So it's just powerful to see that how we can unite her hometown with her freedom town in this beautiful way. And I see those Black women coming together regularly to talk about not just Harriet's legacy, but what they're doing. The other powerful thing about Cambridge, Maryland is if you've been following Girl Trek for a minute, then you might know that me, Morgan, and our entire Girl Trek team at the time, we journeyed to Harriet Tubman's hometown in something called Harriet's Great Escape, and we walked 5 days, over 100 miles, retracing her steps, and we know that area so intimately. And when you think about Harriet's Great Escape and yourself walking, yourself, what do you think? What do you remember most about that journey?
Well, first of all, I remember the Girl Trekkers there surprised us and brought us supplies. Do you remember that? I was like, I think that's blue shirt up there, and she was waving, and I was like, who is that? How'd she know where we was? And she was like, I found y'all. And what really, really moved me about that trip is the third step of the Tubman. Yes, the third step of the Tubman doctrine, which is come back and get your allies or rally your allies. And so many people on that trip stopped on the roadside to congratulate us for walking 100 miles in 5 days. They had seen us on the newspaper to bring us supplies. And that's the kind of community I want to be a part of, Vanessa. It's the community I want to be a part of. And then the last reaction to that video is on what would have been Fannie Lou Hamer's 100th birthday. We went to her hometown in Sunflower County, Mississippi, and we met her daughter. And we saw her community. And one of the things that we knew for sure is that there's so much work to be done yet in that community. And I feel like that on the Eastern Shore still, that with Harriet's family, we had the opportunity 2 days ago to speak to Harriet's family, 2 of her nieces. Thank you so much. And one of the most shocking things I learned is that one of her nieces is already a Girl Trekker and is already walking, and that the other niece that we were talking to was following us on that 100-mile trip. And so it's relevant for Harriet Tubman's family even today, and that makes me feel worthy. It makes all this work worthwhile, Vanessa. It makes me feel.
It does make it worthwhile. And the fact that Harriet's family actually blessed us with interviews for this weekend, during our conversation with them, they said that they are not consulted. They weren't consulted around any Harriet movies. They haven't been consulted around any Harriet currency. They're not consulted around any Harriet books. And yet here they are, like her living, breathing descendants right here where I am at in Auburn, New York. They are here. And I think we're going to bring in the words of, can I just say, she's 94 years old. Her name is Mother Johnson. She has so many real stories around her family and Harriet Tubman, and we didn't pay her to say that Harriet Tubman walked. But when I tell you that when we asked her Harriet Tubman and what her message was for us, she told us that Harriet Tubman walked. And I let's play that and hear directly from their family and her family into the conversation right now.
And Harriet was an amazing person. And she was a stunning example of courage and bravery. And all her accomplishments were just beautiful. They were lovely because she did them. She did it. And she walked everywhere. She didn't fly. She didn't ride on no bus. She walked. And so that's why I think your group or your agency would express that more, to tell them that she didn't walk, she didn't fly, she didn't ride on a bus, she walked everywhere she went. And walking from the north to the south is quite an accomplishment, and she did that.
Wow.
and to tell them that they need to keep going, because Aunt Harriet told us to keep going, and because we're not here yet. And so that's a thing to think about. It's something to think about.
Yes, ma'am. We will keep going. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It was so interesting. First of all, so beautiful talking to Mother Johnson, Harriet's great grandniece. She's in Auburn, New York. It was so beautiful talking to her. And one of the things that she said in the very beginning, well, first of all, she sang with us, which was so beautiful. But one of the things she said in the very beginning is that she didn't know she was related to Harriet Tubman because all these generations later, her family was still protecting Harriet's legacy from those who would come to harm her. And so she was still in hiding, even in her freedom, and that her family was still prayer. And so she said when she found out, she asked her parents who knew her, why didn't you tell me Harriet was our foremother or our aunt? And they said, well, we were protecting Aunt Harriet. And that's so beautiful to me. We have such beautiful people. So
it's
Vanessa.
beautiful. And it also, I just want to say this to everyone listening. I cannot underscore enough how important it is for us to have conversations with the women in our family. When our elders are our greatest resource. I think, I don't know who said everyone dies, a library goes with her, but it is the truth in so many ways. And one of my biggest takeaways from the conversation with her family is that it was the oral tradition that where they passed down in the living room and talking about it, and that kept things alive. And so much around what Morgan and I have been doing with Girl Trek over these last years, some of it intentional and some of it just God putting us where we need to be, is that we need and want Black women everywhere to tell the stories. That's why we started Daughters of, a naming tradition, so that in every room we come into, we bring the women who came before us with us, so that in every
do we have that clip of her other piece? Yes. Let's play that. While we're queuing it up, if you know your mother's name, your grandmother's name, and even if you're lucky enough to know your great-grandmother's name, you can do this too. You just say, I am Morgan, daughter of Carol, daughter of Letha, and you go back as far as you can. And we were so grateful to hear the niece of Harriet Tubman. Sophia was Harriet Tubman's sister, and this is the descendant of Sophia. So she's going to do her Daughters of story.
I am the daughter of Joyce, who is the daughter of Elida, who is the daughter of Mary Elizabeth, who is the daughter of Anne Marie, who is the daughter of Sophia, who is the daughter of Britt, who is the daughter of Modesty.
Wow.
Oh, who was from the Ashanti Kingdom.
Who was from the Ashanti Kingdom. I got chills when you just said that for many reasons. One, because you can go back so far and it's so powerful. And also because I feel like I know a lot about Harriet Tubman, but I also I was reading an article about Modesty, and that her daughter was Harriet. And that was Harriet's mother was Harriet, that Harriet was the daughter of Harriet. And I was like, I feel like it's not something that's talked about a lot, that Harriet actually inherited her mother's first name. So Morgan, when you were saying that she carried the Tubman name, I was like, but actually she even carried her mother's name, because Harriet wasn't her name, and that was the name she took on, who was and Harriet was the daughter of Modesty. And it's so powerful just to think about that.
Yes. Grandmother Rydia, they called her Rydia. There's a little bit of interest in her first name, because there are different places in documentation where she's listed as Henrietta. And then there's others that believe her name was Harriet. So you kind of, this is when you get into the research and you see something over here and you see something over there. But what I can tell you for sure is that once Aunt Harriet rescued her mother and father and brought them to Canada and then relocated to Auburn, that on one of the censuses, you will find that the mother lists her name as Harrietta. Harriet. So we kind of like to think in our family lore that the mother, Henrietta, in freedom, named herself after her daughter.
Ooh.
Oh, yes.
I love that so
I love
much.
that.
Oh my goodness.
I
love it so much.
chills and I got chills listening to it again. It's so powerful to think that her mother named herself after her daughter. It's so powerful even when we think that, which I believe and I know you believe, we can heal 7 generations back and 7 generations forward. And really, it's like we are so the women in our lineage in a way that I think we are just scratching the surface at trying to understand.
Yeah. Yeah, and the conversation that was before that, as we were talking about Harriet Tubman marrying John Tubman and how he did her damn wrong, and how sometimes you got to walk in the direction of your healthiest, most fulfilled life, even when that man don't want to walk with you, y'all. We was talking about that, and I was like, and all this time she done carried that man's name, that Tubman name, and it's a legendary name now. And look at, what Tubman's wife do? John Tubman. What she do? She was a secretary in the Eastern Shore. This shady.
Morgan, but I'm not even. I try to put my glasses on for this. This is like off script because we are not the owner.
Wait, no, take it back. The secretary's gonna be like, Morgan, you damn wrong, and you need a secretary. That's what they. And they would be right. And shout out to my secretary, Yakoba. But go ahead, Vanessa.
No, they would be. But I would, when you were just saying that about her and her second husband, whose name was Nelson, right? I just want to point out that I'm just going to get up. The church where Harriet Tubman married him is literally like right there. That building is the church where she had her second wedding and marriage.
You
and
mean
when I
to the man who was 24 years younger than her, that wedding? To that wedding?
And I'm just trying to say that imagine if this woman had time to go to a church and have another wedding. I'm just like in the midst of everything that's going on, like I'll be feeling like I got a lot going on, and then I'll be telling my man, I ain't got time for you right now because I'm over here trying. But Harriet Tubman had time for it all. She had time for it all, y'all. She had time to marry a younger man and still go back on that Underground Railroad over and over and over again and get many people. And it's essential that we understand that she held space for such a big life, a big life. And I be over here, and I'm just saying this to all the women wherever you are, sometimes in my little small life. And I just be like, it's hard. But when you think that Harriet Tubman still, not only did she marry again, but they had a wedding ceremony in a church. And they found love. And he was younger than her. And she adopted a child. And when I went to her home yesterday, I was just struck by, it was so spacious, the land. And I just thought of her there with her apple trees. And I thought of her there living for years. Harriet Tubman lived here in Auburn, New York. So, and we talked about this a bit on the boot camp earlier today. Her life wasn't defined by struggle. It wasn't defined by just what she did on the Underground Railroad or just what she did as a Union soldier. It was defined by the community that she built. It was defined by her service to other people. And it's why in that Tubman doctrine, when we say the first part of the doctrine is never ask permission, go alone. The second part of the doctrine, go back when you know the way and find a sister. The third part of the doctrine, rally your allies. But that fourth part of the doctrine was why she got married at this church across the street. It was find joy. And the finding of the joy, it is the answer, Black women. It's the answer. It's the bridge between the struggle that you are in right now and the vision that you have for your life. The bridge is to keep moving in the direction of the things that give you joy. To do unapologetically, to do those things without guilt, to do those things without asking for other people's permission, to do them when it seems even inconvenient, to put yourself at the top of the list.
Yeah.
But that, in the doing of those things, is the bridge between the struggle and the liberation. So everyday decision to connect to your own joy. I'm preaching to myself, y'all, because I've been in a funk. And Morgan knows, thank God for just holding me up. But it's like on each day, it is Morgan or another family or a friend of mine's like reminding me of what my own joy is. And so to be here in Auburn and to see that Harriet wasn't about that struggle life, it's a reminder. It's a reminder.
Come on, Reverend Olympia. Come on. Say
Right?
it to the people. Say
Look,
it to the
my grandma didn't play around. My grandma was a extraordinary woman who understood joy. She wore a house. She never put on no clothes. She sprinkled Oscar de la Renta under the house coat. We spent every weekend at the racetrack. She spent all her money on the lotto. And when we hit
Okay.
big, we didn't worry about paying no bills. We would go to the Fred Meyer and get us some ice cream and blow and ball out because and it was
Vanessa,
joy.
in the spirit of keeping it real, we have to set the record. Now, some may have heard me history boot camp until audit with the Bible for
I
here.
can't hear you, Morgan. Go slower. I know
I'm
that's
a-
ignorant because you in Ashanti Kingdom. You like, how slower you want me to go? Okay, go ahead.
Some of you. I'm in the deep forest, okay? So it is a miracle that I am here, okay?
Amen.
Some of you remember when I had gotten to a tiff with the biographer of the Harriet Tubman book. We're not going to say nothing because she did good work and she got us a biography, but she insisted that Harriet Tubman only saved 70 people. And I insisted that how could she know? Because it
I
was
just
an
saw that mess
underground.
written in a Washington Post article and I had to click it off the thing. I had to click it off.
Listen,
Stop trying to diminish.
It was a clandestine underground railroad. So we asked for the record, Harriet Tubman's family for the record, what they thought. And this is what her niece told us.
I think what happens is that quite often the historians base everything on fact, when in fact, the fact may not be exact, but they're so committed to not only doubling down on the fact. I'll give you a good example. But another academician or historian right here from Syracuse University is the one I think that first wrote about the fact that she could have only have saved 70 people.
That's it.
You see the same thing over and over. Well, it's so interesting because wouldn't you want to ask him, well, what 70 people were they? If you know there were 70, then, oh, great. Well, what 70 were they?
Yeah.
And it's feeding into each other and sounding the same information over and over to the point where it was also included in the movie that she had only rescued 70 people. Now, when I was growing up, we heard the number 300.
Yes.
So when you go from 300 to 70, and then you can't tell us who the 70 were, well, what are we really saying?
Right.
And then we find out that during the Civil War, when she did her 3 steamboat attacks on the Confederate lands down there along the Combahee River, that another 700 were free.
Yes. Come on.
Right?
Come on.
So is it 70? Is it 300 plus the 700 from the Civil? I mean, so the point of the matter is her legacy speaks for itself. And I think the greater message to all of the women that are out there and the men even who are listening up to us today, we must take responsibility for telling our own stories.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. And speaking of telling our stories, we are going to queue up our storyteller, resident storyteller, girl trekker, Sister Natalie, to talk about that military raid where Harriet Tubman saved 700 people. Did you have something to say, V? You look like you were in prayer position.
No.
You just pumped. You pumped. Me too.
I am.
So, Sister Natalie, can you continue to educate us with your beautiful voice and spirit and tell us about Sister Harriet, military hero?
Oh, see, I love to talk about General Tubman. You know, in 1862, in this case, she didn't walk. She caught a train. She had a pass all the way down the coast to South Carolina, where I am now, down to Beaufort County. the governor of Massachusetts said that they need you down there, Harriet. And so she was like, all right. And I love this. This is what I love about Harriet. I actually feel like I know her, which is I do a program, Becoming Harriet. And you know what I do? I just step aside and I let her step in, and then she does her thing because she got stuff to say. And so she was one of the people who always said, well, yeah, I can do that. Yeah. So she caught the train and got off in Beaufort, South Carolina, where she reported to Colonel Montgomery. And there were a lot of Union soldiers here, the Black regiments, the Negro regiments, the South Carolina Negro Regiment, Massachusetts 54th came through, and she served them all as, we always say, as a strategist, as a spy. She had a group of some scouts who were local, and she just knew, she would go places she'd never been before and find her way and make her connections. And she said, she didn't have to be there before because God had been there before, and he would tell her what to do. So she had her group of scouts. They say about 7 of them, Gullah Geechee scouts from this community. And she would find out what she needed to find out and report it back to Colonel Montgomery. And he's the one who asked her to find out how to make that, what to do on that raid up we say down here, the Combahee River, where they took out the mines, they burned the rice fields, and they brought more than 700 folk back to freedom in Beaufort. And in her one of her narratives, it says they were jumping on them gunboats like it was the chariot to heaven. Well, when she was in Beaufort, she didn't just do this. She also nursed, and the armory where she nursed and took care of these soldiers still stands down on Craven Street in Beaufort today. And she also did a little cooking, had a little laundry, had a bakery. And that's actually when I first heard about Harriet in South Carolina, because they didn't talk about that kind of stuff. I was one day reading the journal of Charlotte Fortin, the first Black instructor at the Freedmen's School. And in this journal, she said, we took the boat across from St. Helena to Beaufort, and I had a meal with Harriet Tubman. And I said, what? What's Harriet doing in Beaufort? Well, she was doing a little spying. She was doing a little nursing, and she was doing a lot of baking. And to tell us more about that baking, we have Kia Maggot, who's a trekker, who's right down here, not too far from me, as we would say, just down the road a piece, and not far from the Combahee River.
Hey everybody, Kia here with Girl Trek, and I am in the beautiful low country of South Carolina, not too far from the Combahee River, also known as the Combahee River, as we say it in Gullah. And this was the area where Harriet Tubman led that expedition that helped free over 750 Gullah Geechee people right off the rice plantations along the river. But there was something else that Harriet Tubman was doing while she was in Beaufort, South Carolina, and that was baking. That's right, Harriet Tubman baked things like pies and gingerbread in order to make money to send back to her family because she wasn't compensated for her time or her effort while she was serving in the Union Army. So today, in honor of Auntie Harriet, I'm going to be preparing gingerbread. Let's go inside and get started. Started with 2 cups of flour in a medium-sized bowl. We're going to sift that along with 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1½ teaspoon of ground ginger, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of both nutmeg and ground clove, and then 1/2 teaspoon of fine salt. In a heat-proof measuring cup, we're going to melt 8 tablespoons of butter, and in that we're going to add 1 cup of molasses and mix that together. Once your molasses and butter has been mixed, we're going to add that into our dry ingredients. Okay, so now we're going to add 1/4 cup of cool water and mix. Ooh, no shells, please don't go in there. And then we're going to add our buttermilk. Now let's mix this all together. We're gonna pour our batter into our greased baking pan here. You wanna spread that evenly across the whole pan. And then we're going to bake this for 35 to 40 minutes at 350 degrees. Discovering that Harriet Tubman was a baker really connects me even more deeply to her story, because I too really enjoy to bake, like so much so that I'm in school right now to become a chef. Okay, so it's been about 40 minutes, and so we're gonna take the gingerbread out of the oven. Okay, so we have our completed gingerbread. I think Harriet Tubman would be proud of me. Look at that. I'm proud of myself. You can top this with whipped cream. You can put strawberry compote or preserve on top of it, but I'm going to use just some regular old powdered sugar. And so you just want to dust your fresh baked gingerbread. And there we have it. We are finished with our gingerbread, topped it off with some confectionate sugar. Thank you so much, Auntie Harriet, for just paving the way, setting the blueprint, and I hope I made you proud today making this gingerbread. Happy Tubman Day, y'all.
Kia, you did make us proud. You made us so proud, Chef Kia. We are so proud of you down in the Gullah Sea Islands making gingerbread using Harriet's recipes. So we're so proud of you. Vanessa, I know you was taking notes. Uh-oh, you're on mute, maybe. Are you on mute?
I was on mute because I literally kept going, that looked good. And then I was like, let me go ahead and put myself on mute. I desire so much to be a woman who can bake like that. I really believe in the gift giving aspect, the caregiving aspect of how Black women used food, and to know that Harriet also did that. I love it. I want to see everybody, by the way, making their own recipe and then sharing the video. And then I actually want to shout out, Morgan, really quickly, an organization that came here to Auburn. They're called Run Like Harriet, and it's an organization that puts Black women into political office. It's run by a Black woman named Anika. And I'm calling them out because they showed up with a comfort pie. It was a comfort sweet potato pie, and they were like, you can't earn this. This is like what you get as a leader. And I was like, there's such a tradition there. So I do love that. I thank you, Kia, for sharing that. And I'm going to go home and try to make my own gingerbread.
And thank you, our sister Natalie, for that story about the military raid. Did you know that Harriet Tubman was the first woman in American history to lead a military operation? And her family tells us to this date, we don't know of another woman who has led at that level, the general level, of a military raid in a war. So Harriet Tubman, you continue to astonish us. And then one of the fun facts that Natalie was saying is she was saying the 54th Regiment of Massachusetts was there. Y'all know who that is. That's Denzel Washington and them from Glory.
My favorite movie, Lord.
Washington and them from Glory. And the man, Colonel Montgomery, that she talked about. Glory did not do him justice. They kind of made him seem crazy. But he was a man who was burning up them villages. Remember on Glory? Well, he was with Harriet Tubman, and he was radical. And he was saying, these people are not our friends, and you cannot leave anything standing, and we're going to burn it all to the ground. Now, I'm not suggesting that that is the way to go now, y'all, but I'm just saying, these are the people who made Black history. These are the kinds of allies that put their lives on the line for us. We talked to her family about John Brown and Frederick Douglass and their relation with Harriet Tubman. And oh my God, if you listen to the podcast, you heard the clip when she talked about John Brown loved Harriet Tubman, and Frederick Douglass wrote a letter just talking about how she was the most powerful woman in the country. So we are grateful for allies, for the men out there who are watching, for our sisters and brothers who are not African American, but who are supporting the Girl Trek movement. We are grateful for you. So we are going to move on. And one of the things that we talk about often in Girl Trek is that you have to be the Harriet of your household. You have to walk out alone, as Vanessa was telling you. You got to come back and get your cousin and them and your sister. You got to rally the people who are rooting for you. We call them allies. They got to be rooting for you, right? They got to prove that they're your ally, and then you got to find joy. Well, as we thought about ending this broadcast, we thought there are some Harriets in our lives that are setting a blueprint for all of us on how to step out. And so I wanted to, I had the opportunity to nominate one Harriet that from our movement, from our lives, really. And I nominated a woman named Kanika. Kanika, are you there? Here she is. Kanika, I know you thought you was coming on to talk about organizing. I know you did, my friend and my sister. But you did not. You came on to be honored for who you are as a woman, for who you are as a mother, for who you are as a wife, for who you are as a leader in Chicago, for who you are as a leader of our generation, the greatest hip hop generation. You show up exactly like you look today every single time I see you. And I've had the opportunity to work with you, Kanika, so many times. I saw you at the stress protest carrying boxes up hills. I saw you pushing to start your own business. And this year, when we lost your father, the street violence in the streets, needless violence, I saw you lead with vulnerability. I saw you tell everybody on Facebook, I'm not okay. I am not okay with this, and I am sad. I saw you pick up yourself, pick up your two daughters, pick up your husband in the saddest, deepest part of your life. And I saw you carry on. I saw you carry on, Kanika. I saw you do what needed to be done for the funeral. I saw you fly down to New Orleans. I saw you honor your father with grace and spread his ashes. Girl, I was watching you in awe. And y'all, in all of this, every single morning that I wake up exercising on Instagram, I'm just like, how in the hell, the kids who watching the other thing, how in the hell is she exercising? Y'all, Kanika is an inspiring woman in our movement. Not because walks, not because we just named her one of our brand new regional coaches, not that. It's because, Kanika, the reason we needed you is because the light you shine is so bright in the darkest, darkest times. In the darkest times, Kanika. You were the first person that came to my mind when we started to design a coaching position. I said, anybody who has that kind of strength, anybody who has that kind of wherewithal needs to be at the front line of this movement. And I'm so deeply grateful for who you are as a person, as a mother. And you had the nerve to have a beat face on Instagram. I'm just like, where is it coming from? Kanika, where is it coming from? So I wanted to just give you a second to just tell us, where do you source that strength? How do you do it after something that traumatic? And you shared it on Instagram. I can just give people so you can talk about it and you don't have to talk about it. Is that Kanika's father, who was a big champion of his daughter, my God, was a good man who was stopping to get some produce for his grandbabies on the side of the street in Chicago, was robbed in daylight, broad daylight, for his car, and shot dead in the street. And we all were there with you, Kanika, and we saw you, and we saw how you. We saw you. We saw you. You refused to be overcome with rage. You refused to move from your community. You refused to allow your daughters to be afraid to take walks. You refused. I saw you. And so I'm just publicly want to tell you, there's somebody out there who does not think they can make it, who has some real stuff. I mean, some real stuff going on. And I just want them to see your face, if you don't say anything else, that this sister right here is what it looks like to be a shining star, even in the darkest moments. So when our producer Ebony said, "Who is?" I was like, I can't think of anybody but Kanika all year because you inspire me every single day. So I just wanted to say that. Do you have any advice for people who are out there who might be going through something?
First, I just want to say, oh my gosh, like you totally caught me off guard. I'm so glad I had this tissue just sitting right here. Just anyway, shout out to emergency tissues. But wow, any advice? Find your joy in every little bit of your lives, any way you can, any way you can. I think I put up a post the other day. I was like, find glory in the little things, and that literally is what has been keeping me like pushing through, just with my babies, watching me and just being that example for them. And then also just the people that I reach, just with living my life out loud on social media. It's so many of us that are going through right now. Like it's a lot going on. We are all going through. There's so many people hurting, so many women hurting. And we need to know that there's somebody out there that is going through with us, that's walking through, with us. And that is one of the main reasons why I live my life so out in the open. I allow myself to be seen sad and hurt and angry and crying. That's why I took every possible interview I could that week, because I'm like, no, y'all need to see the face of the person that this affects.
Yeah.
And my father's legacy lives throughout this entire neighborhood. And I said, no, they need to see this. This needs to be seen, and it's okay to be angry and hurt and sad, but I'm gonna still keep going because I don't know how to do anything else, but I don't. I don't. And I'm just so grateful to you all. I'm grateful to Girl Trek. I'm grateful to my Girl Trek sisters who have been holding me down since. A lot of people don't know I haven't been able to walk since then. Me and my dad used to walk all the time in our neighborhood. He lived around the corner. We used to walk all the time. I haven't been able to. I couldn't. It's something about going out and him not being there to walk with me. I couldn't do it. To today, I was able to do it, and I was able to get out there, and and even though I didn't look like it was hard because as soon as I came back in the house, that was it. Tears flowed, and I just felt this sense of like, why is my dad not here doing this with me? But um, this is why I do it. I do it because there are other sisters that's been holding me up for these past 8 months, has been walking for me because they are walking through this with me, even though they're not physically here. They've been doing this with me. So for everybody out there that's going through some stuff just like me, for those who have lost parents or family members or loved ones due to violence or whatever, find your joy in every little thing, in all the little things, every little thing.
Mm. You just, that was a word for somebody right there. That was a word for somebody right there. Well, Kanika, I'm so glad that you were able to walk today. I'm so glad that I get to work with you. I love you so much. And our theme, thank you. Our theme for this year is joy and justice. And you have the joy. We need to figure out a way to find the justice. So let's work together and try to figure that out in the streets there in your community. So thank you so much for joining us today. You are my Harriet this year.
Love y'all. Love you,
Vanessa.
Love you too. Yeah, I'm going to bring my Harriet in, and then we're going to ask everyone. So please start thinking right now about who your Harriets are, because we're going to ask you to tag them while we listen to a musical selection. But before we do that, I'm going to bring in my Harriet. And this was an easy call for me because there are over 1 million women now in the Girl Trek movement. And yet there's hundreds of women whose names Morgan and I know, whose faces we see when we wake up in the morning, whose stories we think about when we go to bed. And I'm not going to lie, on some days, the awesome responsibility of leading women, it can feel overwhelming. And the pressure on a daily basis to say, are we doing enough? Can we be doing more? Is Girl Trek effective? Are we impactful? It drives me. It is a minute by minute. It's working through me each day because I feel like God has called Morgan and I, has called this movement, and I feel so lucky and blessed. And several years ago in Washington, D.C., a woman brought her daughter. A woman brought her daughter to D.C. on a walk. Her name was, and she was from a tiny little town in Edwards, Mississippi. And Donna, I can remember the day. I know where we were standing on the bridge on Connecticut Avenue in DC. I can tell you what the air smelled like. It was the first time I knew that Girl Trek was working. She looked me in the eye and she said, "You are changing the generations in my family." And Donna had gotten her entire town of Edwards, Mississippi, walking with Girl Trek. And shortly after, me, Donna, and her daughter, Kalisha, who we're going to bring in right now, so please bring her in on the screen. Shortly after, not that long after, Donna, while walking with her team in Edwards, Mississippi, passed away on mile 9 of a walk. And I will never forget where Morgan and I were when we heard the news. And I can never forget thinking, did we not serve Donna well enough? What could we have done better? But then Edwards, Mississippi showed up and showed out for Donna at her funeral, and they invited Morgan and I down there. And the church service was full of women with these blue corsages, and it was so beautiful. And since that moment, I have seen her daughter, Kalisha, who is here, who is my Harriet. You are my Harriet. Continue to live her mother's legacy, continue to show up each and every day with a ferocious spirit. I have seen her push through college. I have seen her graduate. I've seen her go on to get her master's. I have seen her move. I have seen her hold her sisters and her family together. And I have seen the entire town of Edwards, Mississippi continue to hold Donna down and uplift Girl Trek as a solution. And I can't think of any person right now whose name I would want to call in this moment than Donna Stamps. And there's no person who I want to honor, Kalisha, except for you. And I wonder if there is something that you can share to the community, thinking that your mom isn't here, but she lives in all of us, just like Harriet lives in all of us. And tell everyone, where do you find the inspiration? How do you keep going? And let women know that they can do the same thing.
Hey guys, I was kind of shocked. I actually just got done walking at my job. I walk from my job now. And I guess I was thinking about what to say during this stuff, and all I could think about was the fact that like I get to walk all the time now. I really get to walk all the time, and it makes me so happy because I don't know, maybe I'm close to something. When I was walking just because I wanted to honor my mom at first, and then I started walking to honor myself, and then now when I walk, I'm just the best version of myself. And so I always try to talk about it to people because I really feel like walking does something to your mental and your physical body to where you can truly find that spark in yourself from walking, and you can hold on to it as long as you can. So that's why I still walk now, and I'm trying to make that a lifestyle, just like my mom made it a lifestyle for her. And I'm sorry. I'm not even like like I did bring this with me here just because I do these things for her as well. And I keep this picture with me everywhere I go. And so I just brought this here. I didn't even know what this was for, but I just knew she would want to be here too. And so I always try to be that vessel for her if it's possible, if that's a real thing, to where when I'm walking, she gets a chance to kind of breathe and experience the thing that made her the happiest person. So
Alicia, it's 100% a real thing, and you are a vessel, just like Donna was a vessel, just like Donna is a vessel. I don't even believe in death in that way. And so the best version of yourself when you're walking is like you and Donna reunited in that way. Thank you so much for that.
Will you hold up the picture of your mom?
Yeah, I can. This is really old. I actually found this. I found this in her in her belongings. She actually had this herself.
Oh,
I kept
thank
the time.
Thank you so much, Kalisha, for sharing that.
Kalisha,
I'm about to actually go right back out and walk. I was bragging so much about Girl Trek. I was like, I have to go for a walk. I'm sorry, I have to do a whole thing, and walking is so important, and I'm so happy out here. Like that's how I am at work now. Because
I love
it is. And I was just thinking, I was like,
can you tell me your job? What job are you working now? I don't know. I haven't caught up with you in a long time.
It's okay. It's we just collect data outside, and so we walk to different people's houses, and now thinking about it, I've noticed so many differences walking so much into other people's neighborhoods and not my own.
Yeah.
We've walked from places where, of course, I'm sure the income is pretty high, all the way to Section 8. And you can really see a difference between who is outside in their neighborhood walking and who is kind of in their comfortable zone. And just walking and being out of my comfort zone, it shows me that, like, people, I want to see more of us outside walking in our neighborhoods. I want to see more of us. I want to see people waving, when you walk by, like how I was in Mississippi. I'm in Texas now. So it's just really interesting. And I just try to observe everything and pay attention a little more. And that's what I'm learning. When you're walking enough, if you're out there walking enough times, you see something beautiful in every little thing.
Yes.
That's beautiful.
Alicia, thank you so much. We love you so much. And now we're going to encourage everyone. We're going to do.
Yeah. Vanessa, can I help out?
Yes.
I know you stunned.
I'm reading things. I'm like, wait, what we doing?
I got you. If there is a Harriet in your life, your sister, your cousin, your next door neighbor, the lady at church, the lady at the beauty salon, someone who inspires you to keep going, just tag her in the comments and honor her in this moment. And we are going to transition to the final part of our broadcast. But while you are writing and tagging and thanking your Harriet, we have invited one of our favorite people on the planet. Listen, there ain't no movement that don't include youth. And there ain't no movement that don't, and young people are the most revolutionary on the planet and have been at the forefront of every movement. And this young woman, with her own spirit and Girl Trek glow, shows up all the time in Atlanta, Georgia. And we bring Gabby here, and Gabby is going to bring us to the current moment that Harriet brought us to by singing over us. And we could not think of a better song than the Black National Anthem. So please tag your Harriet while Gabby blesses us with a number. And sing along, y'all know the words.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory Stony.
I was like, Gavin, please don't go into that second verse. You know we don't know that second verse, Gavin. You know we don't know that second verse. Thank you so much, Gavin. She walks in Atlanta, Georgia. Mother, her aunts, all of her family are just so beautiful. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I hope you tag the Harriet. There's still time for the end. We are going to we have a campaign on social media now that says if Harriet walked herself to freedom, then I can. What was yours, Vanessa?
I haven't actually posted mine today because really I was actually thinking about it. But this morning I woke up and I said I can stay at the edge and push past my comfort zone each and every day.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Mine was if Harriet could walk herself to freedom, then I can practice radical joy every day. And so we asked our checkers the same question and we got their answers. We wanted to share some of their answers with you. We encourage you to look at the meme. You don't even have to write it out. You can just type it on social media or you can write a whole poster if you want. But we asked some of our checkers, if Harriet could walk herself to freedom, then I can fill in the blank.
If Harriet can walk herself to freedom,
then I can walk too, and I can take others with me.
I can get my health in order. I can be obedient, determined, and learn to love all of me.
I can continue to lead and inspire other Black women as I am the first African American real estate broker in Dorchester County.
I can shore up my family's financial legacy and buy land.
I can live unapologetically, blaze new trails, and work toward a brighter tomorrow.
I can move with power, passion, purpose, and peace.
If Harriet can walk herself to freedom, then I can run for political office.
I can be anything I want to be.
Vanessa, who got my cousin on there? That was T.Y. Who got that? Ebony, why are you trying to make me cry on this national television? On this national television. Oh my God, that was Hi, T.Y. I didn't even know you had no Girl Trek stuff. Oh,
I didn't even know it was your cousin, so there you go.
The second to the last one was my cousin, y'all.
I didn't know that.
To do that, Ebony. Don't be doing that. Don't be doing that. Thank you, T.Y. What's next on the agenda?
We gotta let people. We're getting ready to wrap, and we want to let people know a few things. That this is not the end. This is the beginning. It's the beginning of you connecting with a community of 1.5 million Black women. It's the beginning of you starting to tap into your own joy, to start walking in the direction of your best life. It's the beginning of us starting to not just transform our individual lives, but transform our communities, which is what Girl Trek is going to do this year. By the end of this year, we are committed that we will have 1,000 Black up and going where there are Girl Trek women walking in those neighborhoods. And you can start joining us on April 1st for Girl Trek's next boot camp. If you have not signed up to be a Trekker, to take the Girl Trek pledge, to loop in, please go to girltrek.org so that you can do that. We are committing that not only each year we will continue to Harriet, and we're about to show you this TikTok video, by the way, the Harriet $20 bill, Morgan. Is it going to go down or is it not going down?
Here's the deal. Girl Trek ain't gonna let this
happen. Harriets, baby. What happened to the Harriets?
Wanna rumble with HT, huh? I'll escape with my whole family. Blow a hole in your back like Moby. Have your friends saying this is for Toby. And you know me for letting slaves go free. Find you in the north instead of hanging from a tree. If it's murder, then it was me. Shotgun for a stitch, slave running sea. Know you running underground cause the path I chose it. Take your pick, get this whipping, now let's get it going. Think quick, all that cotton that you pick. Player hating from the sideline, get your own railroad while you're riding mine. This is for my fellas and my ladies, dodging slavery, Frederick Douglass, hold me down, baby. Only female in my crew, and I dodge master like a nigga do. Pull the trigger too, fuck you.
I been had dubs, that was Andrew Jackson. They supposed to be Tubman. Damn, what happened? You know Freddie D used to hang around with Susan B. But I'm just saying, man, stop playing with HT.
You saw Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass came in with the hook.
Yes.
Y'all, it's going down like this. Take Andrew Jackson off the $20 bill. Put Harriet on the $20 bill. President Biden, with all due respect, Vice President
And we don't want no
Kamala,
double
with all
sided. We want just her. We don't just Harriet.
double-sided, there are a million Black women now, the largest conceit to vote all the time, that you pay attention to what we are asking, and Girl Trek will help facilitate it. Look for in your inboxes. We will use our organizing mechanisms for you to sign a petition, and we can move this forward. It is not just honorary, it is justice. It is justice. So we couldn't let Aunt Harriet, as her nieces call her, we couldn't let Aunt Harriet down in this moment. We do want to have some advocacy. So look for in your inboxes. Couple of announcements. On April 1st, again, is our next Black History Boot Camp. If you're new, we're going to walk 21 days together. It is a walking podcast. You put your earbuds on, you put your sneakers on, you walk out for 30 minutes with us. We talk about a different person or a different phenomenon in Black history. It is a blast. We have so much fun. That's how you start walking alone. We also have a training for crew leaders, Girl Trek crew leaders. We're looking for 1,000 of y'all in the Blackest neighborhoods in America to start your crew with your friends and family, where 2 or 3 are gathered. That's what the Bible says. That's where love is. That's where God is. So that is a crew, 2 or 3 walking together. We think you can do it. We will teach you how to do it in 3 days. We will teach you how to do it. It is not a big deal. It's walking and keeping people safe. That's all we have for today.
That's
we can't wait to
we
share.
also got, Morgan, stop playing, because you in Ghana, and if you're on the continent, just know that we are not going to leave y'all behind either. That Girl Trek is officially going global this year, and we have our first big event coming up in Ghana.
Yes. When is it, Vanessa? Fancy pants. You done call me a lie on national TV. My mama said don't call people. Don't call people no lie. That's what she said. It's on March Saturday, March 19th. If you are on the continent, if you're in Ghana, you are invited. It is a wellness revival. It is a teach-in. We're gonna have womb yoga. We're gonna have sexual health stuff. Listen, we're getting real up in Ghana. So come out and join us. Any other announcements, Vanessa?
I don't have any other announcements. I just want to introduce everyone to our last performer of the evening. Her name is Jiminelle. She is a singer-songwriter who I had the pleasure of meeting and seeing in person. And when I tell you, there are sometimes when you meet a person and you can tell that there is an alignment with them in spirit and what they say, who they say they are, and what they do, and it comes out in pure joy and pure light. And Jiminelle is that person. And Jiminelle does a lot of really beautiful mantras. My favorite, I invite joy and ease, is a mantra that she does that really has been ministering to my spirit. And Jiminelle is going to close us out with some mantras and some singing so that we can bring all of this energy into one big ball and hold space for it in our bodies and carry it out into the world. So Jiminelle, I just want to thank you for joining us and then welcome you and invite everybody in to experience the end of this session together.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. This has been such a beautiful experience. I've been smiling. I've been breathing deep with y'all through the healing process, and I'm just really excited to share some mantras that resonated with me as I was sitting in on the back and listening to all of the beautiful conversation that was happening today. So I'm gonna dive right in with y'all. One of the things that really resonated with me was how much we spoke about how Harriet was not just an activist, but she really took time to experience joy. And when I think about the life that Harriet led and the path that she created for us to be free, I really think that she created space for us to heal. And so about for your healing. Making space, making space, making space for my healing. I'm making space, space, making I'm making space, making space, making space for my healing. I'm making space, making space, making space for my healing. I'm making space. I'm making space. So if Harriet could walk to freedom, then I can make space for my healing. How about y'all? Can y'all make space for your healing too? Yes. I'm seeing some nods of affirmation. I love that. I'm making space, making space, making space for my healing. For my healing. I'm making space, making space, making space for my healing. I'm making space, making space, making space for my healing. Yes. Ooh. Just got to take a deep cleansing breath on that one. I've been thinking a lot about making time for stillness as a way to make space for my healing, making time to press pause and enjoy the joy, live in joy and enjoy, live in peace, and live in stillness, and to make that space for my healing. But before I could do that, I had to realize I already had everything I needed. And so this song is called Everything I Need Is Already Inside. 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 Everything I need, everything is already inside me. Everything I need, everything I need, yeah, is already inside. Everything I need is already inside. Everything I need is already inside. Everything I need is already inside of me. Everything I need is already inside. Ooh. Everything I need is already inside of me. Everything I need is already inside. 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 I love that there is freedom in knowing that you already have everything that you need, right? And when I think about Harriet Tubman and the mission that she led to bring us to freedom, I'm reminded that freedom is also in the mind. And so this mantra is to remind us that we are free and to celebrate that. I am free. I am free. Yeah, yeah. I am free. I am free. I am free. I am free. Ooh. I am free. And y'all are free. So be free. Go and be free. Go and be free. Be free. Go and be free. Girl Trek, thank you so much for having me to be a part of this Harriet Tubman tribute. What a beautiful, beautiful way to celebrate her life and existence and her legacy. Thank you all so much. My name is Geminelle, and I invite y'all to go and be free.
Oh, thank you, Jim.
Yes. Listen. Wait, but did you see the Fifth Element when that lady was singing and it sounded like heavenly like that? It was like, oh, it was good. When you were singing that, I was like, this is from another planet, is what this is. So I appreciate you for speaking life over all of us. It felt like a healing experience, and I'm so grateful.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. And for closing out tonight's broadcast, one last thank you. We could not ever do this without an amazing group of women behind us. And y'all, if y'all knew the talent, I mean, from being able to find y'all zip codes, being able to organize you, to keeping the lights on, to producing this very broadcast, you have a team of talented women now around the world, because we just hired on the continent of Africa. We have a global team of professionals who work day in and day out to make this movement happen. And one of them is Ebony Andrews. Joel, can you put Ebony on? I know she behind the scenes producer got her producer outfit on. She mad. She gonna be mad. Put her on. Look,
she got her Debbie Allen outfit on. You know how Debbie Allen be behind the scenes making choreography? That's what she got on.
Debbie Allen. But can we put the three on? I know. Come on, you can't put a three. Joel, like, I do not got the stuff for this. We cannot do it without our producer. That is Ebony, who just hid from you, and she does not get foregrounded nearly enough, and none of our staff do. So right behind Vanessa and I are just a group of talented, committed, brave, hardworking, kind women, and I just want to thank you. Just want to thank you for all that you do. All right, y'all. Stay tuned for our team is growing. We have coaches for our volunteers now. Stay tuned for that announcement. They are dynamic. You met one of them today, but they are dynamic, and we're going to be rolling out more coaching positions. It's a 10-month fellowship, and we cannot be more excited to introduce this year's fellows to the entire community. We love you. Vanessa, any final words?
Thank you again to Ms. Waterly, who came in from South Carolina, by the way, not Maryland, but thank you for narrating with storytelling. It was so, so beautiful. And I want to thank the Heritage Center here in Auburn, New York, that lent me this entire space so that we can do this broadcast. And I think we'll have some credits or something to give everyone else credit, but just thanking again the team that was involved in this.
Thanks, everyone. Tag someone in this broadcast, and we'll be having a viewing party at 8 o'clock Eastern time. You can invite your friends and watch it again. All right. Bye, everyone.
So once upon a time, A woman walked out the door and took a walk. And once upon a time, she reached out her hand and she invited her sister and her friend to go with her. And so they took a walk together. And once upon a time, a woman and her friends, they asked their family to go with them on a walk, and they did. And once upon a time, a community went on a walk. And once upon a time, the community grew and grew until it reached all around the world. Once upon a time, this morning, tomorrow, once upon a time, a woman took a walk and she healed herself and she healed those behind her and she healed those ahead of her. And if Harriet could walk to freedom, wow, what can we do? Thank you for being a part of this story today.